hope you're having a great afternoon, man. Welcome into the game here in T-Town.
And I hope you're feeling a whole lot better. And good to be on with you again.
Man, I'm doing good. And I'm just excited to talk with you, man. We talk to your sidekick every week here on this program, Mr. Russ Mitchell, and he kicks the tires and lights the fires, as he always says.
Yes, he does. Yes, he's an interesting character. I love the Russ.
Yes, we do too. We do too. Pete, before we get started, let me just get your general thoughts on the Crimson Tide. 4 games in, what do you see in this football team that's in Tuscaloosa?
I mean, obviously they're amazing. I mean, obviously everything's working. The key component, the difference here, especially if you want to talk about investment advice stuff, is it's a different animal when, Alabama used to be, all right, they'd win games easily, and then they just take their foot off the gas and it'd be over. But when your second teamer comes in and it's Jalen Hurts, who by all rights could win, SEC in a national championship, and the offense doesn't stop, the machine just keeps on going. It's going to take a perfect storm of meltdown things for LSU or for Alabama to lose twice. And as we've discussed in the offseason, it's possible, weird things could happen and Alabama could lose a game. But can it lose 2? No. It's just not. They're just playing way too well. They're way too deep and way too talented. And the key is if you just get to that SEC championship game undefeated, and pretty much no matter what, you're going to get into the college football playoff, even if on an off day you lose to Georgia. This team is just obviously rolling. But it's right now Alabama, it's Georgia, it's Ohio State. There's a half click below that maybe for Clemson. And that's it. And your 4 best team theory. Those are the 4 best teams, and that's your college football playoff, no matter really what happens.
So you think Alabama, as long as they get there undefeated, they could lose to Georgia, and you still think they'll be a part of college football playoffs the way you project?
I don't know how you aren't. I mean, on a 4 best, the committee should. The committee showed it last year, and we went through this over and over again, forgetting what happened. Deserve factor wise, Alabama compared to schedule, compared to everything. If you look at just the metrics, who they played, how they played. No, they probably didn't deserve to be in. Obviously, they won the national championship. But on a 4 best team theory, that's how they got in. The committee just said, you know what? This is one of the 4 best teams in college football. It's in. If Alabama gets there at 12-0, unless there are 4 other undefeated options, I don't know how Alabama is out of this mix.
Okay. Man, what do you think the rest of college football would say if we get back-to-back years? So the same scenario would apply to Georgia, right?
Probably. And Ohio State maybe too. Ohio State might have this, especially if Michigan keeps on playing well. And it's funny you kind of alluded to the idea of when on the lead in here. Well, look what Miami did. It gives a little more credence to LSU and the SEC. And the back thing to that is like, why do you care if the SEC is good? All you have to do if you're Alabama is go 12-1 and win the SEC championship, and you're in the college football playoff. That does matter a little bit for like the Big Ten this year, where if Michigan keeps on playing well, if Penn State keeps on playing well, if Wisconsin gets it all back, and the Big Ten overall kind of bounces back from that bad week from a few weeks ago, and which really was more the underbelly of the Big Ten, along with the Wisconsin stunner. Then it matters if Ohio State gets there 12-0 and loses. But we'll see how this plays out. But what we can kind of see for right now is there are 4 teams in college football that are the best teams. If Penn State beats Ohio State, flip-flop Penn State and Ohio State in that. But really right now we have 4 best teams. A little bit of a subset underneath that with Penn State, Oklahoma, Michigan. I'll still say Notre Dame maybe, and Wisconsin. But the 4 best teams are the 4 best teams.
We're talking to Pete Fiutak, collegefootballnews.com, collegefootballnews.com. Pete, let's break down the Ohio State-Penn State game from your perspective.
The silence game?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah, it's obviously this has been the Big Ten championship over the last 2 years. The winner of this game is not a lock to win the East. I'm still believing that Michigan is just getting better each and every week. It's kind of quietly sort of risen up. The offense is improving. The defense is good. Michigan State hasn't really shown up yet, but it's still very good. Penn State still has to play Wisconsin. So there's a lot of work to do for both these teams, but for the most part, like last week, Wisconsin all but won the Big Ten West with that win over Iowa. That at the very least, the winner of this all but takes the East. And Ohio State's just too good. I mean, Penn State's very, very talented. They've got a nice mix of really young, talented guys and some decent veterans. They've got the schemes. They've got the quarterback in Trace McSorley who knows how to win big games like this. But that's an NFL team that the Buckeyes are putting out there. You could say, again, along with Georgia, it's the one team out there that you could go to position by position and say, yeah, they can hang with Alabama. You've got Dwayne Haskins is turning into a number one overall draft pick caliber of a quarterback. You got NFL players in the backfield. Even without Nick Bosa, that line is great. I think they're going to pull 3.5 points is not a lot in this. I think Ohio State does it.
Pete, let's talk about the team that is gathering some confidence there in not too far from where you live there in South Bend, Notre Dame. Is this team for real? I mean, do you buy this team? Obviously, we'll find out this weekend, but going into this game, do you buy Notre Dame?
No, I don't. Here's the weird part about it. No, I don't buy Notre Dame. However, everything's shaping up perfectly. Look at what's happening. I mean, they got Michigan at the right time. Michigan, again, that seems like a team that needed a preseason game or two to warm up, but they caught them before they really started to figure out what they had offensively. They got that out of the way. Now, if Notre Dame beats Stanford, what's next? You have Virginia Tech without Josh Jackson, who's obviously a shaky team. Florida State's not any good. USC's not any good. Navy's beatable. What, Temple? Where's the loss if they beat Stanford this week? So there's a chance that Notre Dame at 11-1 this year, it's going to be a fight to get them into the college football playoff. But no matter what, Notre Dame at 12-0, I think gets into the college football playoff. And if you look at that schedule coming up, no, they're not one of the four best teams. I think they'd get just annihilated by any of the top teams in the country. But they might get there with this schedule.
All right, Pete, we need some help here. We stunk it up. Out of like 30-something calls last week that picks up at 3-team parlay. That's all we asked, a 3-team parlay. And we give you, like, the grand prize at the end of the season is over $2,000 worth of value. It's a cruise for two. It's an Orca, Alabama cooler. It's a Rectech grill. It's a Daniel Moore frame print that we're giving away. So, I mean, it's over $2,000 value. But you get qualified by winning the SEC Parlay Pick Contest. We had nobody. We all stunk it up because I think a lot of us went with the heart of Alabama. Sometimes you go with that heart, man. The heart will make you pay the man.
Well, you know this better than anybody. You're never wrong by picking Alabama. You're never wrong by picking Alabama, especially against the spread. But yeah, that was a burner last week, and this week. That's a hard one, because I'm under my personal theory, never, ever, 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 no matter what the situation, do you give up more than 40 points to anybody. And 49 is that's a lot of points. That's a lot of points you're giving away to the old Raging Cajuns there.
Yeah, and especially you also got to take into consideration that this is Billy Napier, that coach with Nick Saban here in his first year, and it was similar last week. I think if that's not Jimbo Fisher on the other side, I think Nick Saban runs it up, but I think he didn't call the dogs off like he did. He didn't want to embarrass.
Well, here's the crazy part about that is you can not call the dogs off. Let's say you get a fluky punt return for a touchdown in the fourth quarter, some busted coverage play, something weird happens, and all Louisiana has to do is score a touchdown. And it can be 55-10 and a total wipeout, and you still don't cover. So cover that 49. So I hate it. I would never go to the window with this, but I would never ever give away 49 points to anybody.
All right. So what else out there grabs you? Anything out there grabs you from now? Obviously, entertainment purposes only. But I mean, if you're out there looking at lines, anything jump out at Pete Fiutak?
Oh yeah, oh no, this is where you make your Christmas money off all this. Until UTEP can prove it can do anything right, if you look at their last 16 games, going back to the beginning of last year when they were winless, and they only had one game where they lost by fewer than double-digit points. Texas San Antonio struggled against a bad Texas State team last week. They're home. They're only giving up 10 points. Until UTEP proves anything otherwise, I'm going to still pick against them and go with Texas San Antonio. And the other one I kind of like, going back to Michigan, Northwestern losing Jeremy Larkin, their top running back. They don't have any offense. This Michigan defense is strong. Northwestern's been really, really bad this year. They should be 0-3. They should have lost to Purdue. So you know what? I'll throw my hat in the ring for that cruise in the cooler here. I will take those two and give me the Raging Cajuns of Louisiana to cover the 49, and you'll be all set.
There you go. Hey, Pete Fiutak, I appreciate you, man. I hope you have a great weekend. I mean, we're getting at the point right now in college football where you begin to get excited about all these different games, the different matchups, and your pretenders and contenders are separating themselves. I appreciate you for helping us out here in Tuscaloosa, Pete.
Anytime, Mr. Fowler. Have a good one.